7:05. Welcome to 100 Yards of Football. I'm your host, Vincent Turner. And today, our NFL draft prospect is Jalen Pitre, safety out of Baylor University. So if you like the video this morning, please come in and share it. And as always, over the last 2 months, joining me to talk about these great prospects for the 2022 NFL draft, I consider him, listen very closely, the best is in the business. I don't care what anybody is saying out there on all other social networks. You want to know why? The man's work ethic is unbelievable. He writes almost 8 articles a day. He looks over film of all these great prospects that's coming in the draft. I'm talking about he puts in 5 to 6 hours. So when you come to the table with my guest this morning, you better realize that this guy's about that life when he's talking about these players. So coming to us live out of Key West, Florida this morning, he's got a book out. Whatever it takes. That's what I call him. Whatever it takes. The number one scout covering these players. He studied under the great Bill Parcells and Bill Belichick when he was a scout with the New York Jets. My man, I know him as DK, Mr. Daniel Kelly. How you doing this morning, sir?
Hey, Mr. Turner, I'm doing real well. To your point, I was up until 12:30 in the morning looking at these guys. So, hey, but I'm awake and I'm chipper. I'm ready to go.
Let's get to it. If you like the video, please come in and share it. And the video is presented by betonline.com, presented by Believe Podcast Network. Tell us about this great safety out of Baylor University, Jalen Pitre, what you like about him.
Well, Mr. Turner, you just hit on the key words. This great safety out of Baylor. Take a look at on your screen there. Jalen Pitre, number 8, 6 foot 197. The film I looked at him in 2021 was against Oklahoma State, and BYU. This is a very special football player. I'm not sure. I don't think I've ever seen a player quite like this in 40 years I've been watching the game. I'll start by saying that this guy is like a cornerback. He is like a safety and like a linebacker all rolled into one. This guy loves to come down and play inside the box. You can do that with him. We spend a lot of time on these different draft shows that we've done, together, talking about corners and talking about the importance of cornerbacks, and especially in the first round. I mean, in the NFL we live in now, the pass happy league that we live in right now, if you can't get to the quarterback, you can't defend the pass, you cannot compete in the National Football League. It's that simple with as explosive as a lot of these offenses are becoming in the league. But we do not spend a lot of time talking about safeties. Safeties a lot of times are an afterthought, but you need to take a look at this safety. NFL teams, NFL owners, NFL general managers, NFL scouts need to take a close, hard look at Jalen Pitre, safety from Baylor. This is a dynamic player. This guy is a difference maker with first round ability. He's my top safety on my big board for the 2022 NFL draft. This guy makes Notre Dame's Kyle Hamilton look like he came out of a gumball machine. Pitre is like having a piranha on the field. He has special speed, and I mean, this guy is fast. He is aggressive, which is a great combination to have as a safety when you want speed and aggression. That's what it's all about. In 2021, I unpacked the statistics off ESPN.com. 56 solo tackles, 4 forced fumbles, 2 interceptions, 7 passes defended. If it was Christmas time, we say it's the 12 days of Christmas almost is unpacking that show, that song, and a partridge in a pear tree. But this guy is someone who is tough against the run, someone who's great against the pass. Let's break him down and take a look at him. At Baylor, he didn't play a lot in a traditional deep safety look. They played him at a star position sometimes. A lot of times he was matched up against a receiver, a slot. This guy, like I said, is like having a cornerback and a safety rolled into one. There was a couple plays versus Oklahoma State on film where, I mean, he blanketed the wide receiver like you would thought he was the corner. You had to go back and take a look. I had to rewind the tape a couple times. I'm like, wait a second, because it's tough to be able to tell sometimes on tape which number a guy is, because the camera, it seems like it's being shot from the moon. Sometimes it's hard to see the numbers. But going back, I'm like, wow, this is really him playing against this receiver. It was really something to watch. Like I said, elite coverage ability as a safety. This is a guy who looks like he knows what's going on out there. He looks like he knows what the offense is doing. He looks like a smart football player. He is active. He is alert back there at the safety position. And something that's very important for safeties is what we call in scouting, it's called range. This guy has good range. He can hit he can arrive when the ball arrives and make the hit. He's an instinctual safety, instinctual football player. He can close. He can fly around and support. He can light somebody up. He provides solid support. He can come in and catch a receiver from behind. He has that kind of speed. He's tough and aggressive in coverage, and he has ball skills. That's evident by his statistics. When you're talking about the 2 interceptions and the 7 passes defended in 2021, this guy has ball skills. And most of all, he's dangerous as a blitzing safety. This guy can knife into the pocket. He has excellent blitzing ability. He wants to get to the quarterback. And so against the pass, I mean, this is someone who's very special, can move around. You can do a lot of different things with Jalen Pitre in coverage. This guy would be a dream pick for the New England Patriots. So with Bill Belichick, he would love to have somebody like this who's smart, aggressive, and has this kind of speed and this kind of attitude for the position. Switching over to against the run, this is someone you can slice in and make the stop. He can wrap. I was impressed by his form tackling. I can't tell you how many safeties and how many players on defense in general in the National Football League really have a hard time tackling. I mean, there's a lot of guys who are sloppy with it, a guys who just put in a shoulder, a guy who try to hit somebody. This guy is a wrapping form tackler. He takes players on low a lot of times, wraps his arms around their legs. Excellent tackling ability. He can blow somebody up. He's aggressive and physical. There's really not a lot. I mean, there was a couple one-offs in the run game that I didn't like, where he was, he got wrapped, he got tied into a block and couldn't disengage in time and shed the block. He missed the tackle here and there, but nothing as what you look for in film when you're scouting is you look for trends, you look for disturbing trends when you talk about negatives about players. And I didn't really see any against the run game. This guy is somebody who is an aggressive run defender. Overall, Pitre is going to be a lot of fun for a defensive coordinator in the National Football League, the coach. He's a guy that's going to be able to move around. You're going to be able to move around schematically and create confusion for offenses, because you can do a lot of things with a player like Jalen Pitre on the football field because, again, his speed, his aggression, his aggressive attitude. He's my early front runner for Rookie Defensive Player of the Year. He is that good. It would not surprise me to see somebody take him in the first round between 15 and 25. I know CBS Sports, he got onto my radar through the CBS Sports mock draft. They had him going number 32 overall to the Detroit Lions. I don't think there's any way in the world this guy lasts to 32, especially when you're looking at the Philadelphia Eagles, who have 3 picks in the first round. That's right, 3 picks at 15, 16, and 19. I think he'll probably be a Philadelphia Eagle if I had to put money on it. If the Eagles pass on him for some reason, there is no way in the world Jerry Jones lets this guy slip past him at 24 with the Dallas Cowboys. I know that'll make you happy, Mr. Turner, because I make my wife Samantha happy too. You guys are big Cowboys fans, but this guy is an elite difference maker, and that's really what you look for in the first round. You're not just looking for a guy that has athletic ability to run through little orange cones on pro days, or a guy that has just pops on nowhere in an all-star game that you've never heard of before. You're looking for a guy that's a difference maker. You're looking for somebody who has elite ability. And like I said, in my 40 years of watching the game, he's somebody that I've never quite seen a player like this. He's that special. And so he's definitely going to go high first round. And like I said, Mr. Turner, he could be putting a star on his helmet pretty soon.
Boy, when you think about Jalen Pitre, safety, you think about all the great safeties that's played in the NFL. And what Mr. Peters remind me of is a young Sean Taylor. Heat-seeking missile.
There you go.
Very violent. Very explosive. And I go back to the time when I was a student at the University of Arkansas, 1978 to 1982, and I tried to walk on and play football at Arkansas. That career ended very quickly after one spring practice. But it was a couple of safeties I saw play at a high level. Van McElroy, who came out of Baylor. Mr. Wes Hopkins, that came out of SMU. This young man has all the skill levels, those two young people I just mentioned. Then think about him being really coached well under Dave Aranda and how he really ascended his senior season. And the one thing I like about defensive players, especially in the secondary, I look at the production. And as you just mentioned, Daniel, 195 tackles for a safety. And then you mentioned his cover skills. But most of all, what I like about him, because I play safety, I play strong safety. When you're a safety at the line of scrimmage, you're playing in the box, and then you got to play over the top, and then you moving back in the slot. Instincts. A plus. Like you say, Daniel, he's a young man that's moving up the draft boards, and he came out of a great school of Baylor that's produced some good safeties. Let me mention their name again. Their names, Van McElroy with the Oakland LA Raiders.
I remember him well.
Everett with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and probably one of the greatest defensive players, a Hall of Famer, because Mr. Pitre is representing some of that bloodline that's coming out of the Baylor Bears. Waco, Texas, Mr. Mike Singletary. This guy's a great football player, as you said, Daniel, and I love him. Final words about Jalen Pitre, Mr. Daniel Kelly.
Well, let's put it like this. I mean, very few guys on tape excite me. A lot of guys are just guys. And when like I said earlier in the show, when we talk a lot about cornerbacks and the importance of corners, and a lot of times safeties are kind of just like a distant afterthought. They're guys that kind of always show up in the screen, after the tackle. They're guys that, maybe they can get over in time to provide help over the top. Maybe they can't. There's just not a lot of attention. And you mentioned some of the special ones that have played over the years. And having a special safety just creates a lot of things schematically for a defensive coordinator that a lot of these guys don't bring to the table and don't offer. A safety in the first round, absolutely. Like I said, I would be shocked if the Philadelphia Eagles don't pick him up with one of those 3 picks in the first round there at 15, 16, or 19, unless they package and move up for somebody else. But I can see him being in Philadelphia or Dallas. He's just one of those type of guys that's a real difference maker. And that's what you have to walk away with in the first round if you're an NFL team. As an aspiring GM myself, you have to be able to bring a guy in who is going to be a dynamic, game-changing difference maker at a position. And that's what Jalen Pitre is. He's special. He was fun to watch. And the thing I love about him most is he's not like one of these guys that just purely has the athletic ability and the speed that attracts teams. He has the aggressive want. He has the aggressive attitude. He wants to make the tackle. He wants to make the play in the ball. And I can't tell you from watching film every day, guys like that are very rare. This guy is something to watch. He is something to watch, and he's going to have a big-time career in the National Football League.
My final words about Jalen Pitre, safety at Baylor University. Let me start with this before I get into Mr. Pitre. Our video this morning has been presented by betonline.com, presented by Believe Podcast Network. My thing about Jalen Pitre is very simple. Consensus first team All-American. Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. 2-time first team All Big 12. But the one thing that sticks out about the young man is that, as Mr. Kelly just explained to you, the versatility as a safety. What I like about him, he's explosive, coverage ability is off the charts. And one thing, he's got the thing that all safeties have to have, like the great Sean Taylor, that played for Mr. Kelly's favorite team. Since he put me on the spot, said I'm a Cowboys fan, he's a Washington football team fan. Been covering ever since he was 10 years old, I believe. This young man reminds me of a Sean Taylor. He's just not as bigger. So, my final words about Jalen Pitre. 1985, I just moved to Knoxville, Tennessee, staying with my lovely sister, Bridget, getting ready to go see the University of Tennessee play a lot of football games that year. That year, they ended up winning the SEC and going to the Sugar Bowl and playing the Miami Hurricanes. But there was a band out of London, England. And when I think about Mr. Pitre, him with his hitting ability, this band was very good for like 4 to 5 years. And they had some, their song went like this. Shout, shout, let it all out. There are things I can do without. Come on now. Jalen Pitre is finna let it all out. In the next level.
Absolutely.
National Football League. So if you like the video this morning, please come in and share it. I'm Vincent Turner. Joining me is the very talented, and you might be watching, since all these great GMs are getting jobs, you might see this young man down the road in 3 years running a football team. My man, I appreciate him. I love him. Thank you for being on 100 Yards Football this morning, Mr. Daniel Kelly, coming live out of Key West, Florida. Y'all be blessed.